I remembered every Sunday during celebration, I would bring people. I would bring people that I cared about and loved because
when she first met me, I was gung-ho military. I thought I was going to be an officer.
I lost both my parents to addiction.
We were spending upwards of $1 million a month in paid ads, right? And at peak, I was doing about $3 million a month in revenue.
I'm resonating with my life and really what has catapulted me to my success.
The people that said they were broke on paper and made less than $2,500 a month turned out to be 30% of our high ticket revenue. How is that possible?
Welcome back to the Ryan Zofay Experience. I am super excited to introduce today's guest, my man Douglas James. What's up, Douglas? How you doing, buddy?
Yo, what's up, Ryan? Thanks for having me, man. It's good to see you again.
Likewise, my man. So I want to ask, you joined the Navy. How long did you serve for?
Yeah, I was in the Navy for 10 years, active duty as a hospital corpsman.
Oh, wow, man. Thank you for your service. My grandfather was in the 82nd Airborne, so I respect you. You know, it's interesting. I was actually going to be I was going to go to the Navy as well, and I ended up not going because of a relationship that I was in. I was scared if I went, she may cheat on me or leave me, so I ended up not going. Yeah, man.
It's funny that exact thing happened to me, actually.
You went, she left you.
Yeah. Well,
man.
She technically didn't leave me. She actually, I don't talk about this often, but I actually got married in boot camp.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not to my current wife. I got married to my high school sweetheart, and I basically found out when I was in boot camp. Well, after she came to Chicago, she saw me graduate boot camp from the Navy, and then we basically got married that weekend, like courthouse kind of situation. My grandma bought the ring, and yeah, it was a great weekend. And then like a week later, the dude ended up like texting me on Facebook or something, be like, yo, I got to tell you what's going on with this girl. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I basically immediately got an annulment. And in the state of Maryland, you had to wait like a year. So we were like technically married for a year. But yeah, man, like I know a lot of guys that did that. Unfortunately, I was one of those guys that did that. And it's just one of those things that you do when you're young and dumb. So yeah. I went through that.
Yeah, man. I've never really dove all in, and I've been engaged twice, but I never crossed the line and got married. So I would say I've pretty much done the same thing. I've done it all except just never went through the actual court process. So
yeah, it's funny. Actually, I've never told that story to like anyone, so it's funny to even remember it and talk about it. But
yeah, I just remember like all my buddies were all excited about wanting to go, and a couple of them went, and I was like, man, I just remember being like so insecure, and I was like, I can't leave because if I leave, she'll leave me, and the relationship ended up not working out anyways. But yeah, I just remembered that.
It's just that mindset, right? When you're a young kid and you're trying to figure things out. I mean, when I was 18, 19 years old, I was the reason why I joined the military, because I was basically faced with like a lifestyle that was like not conducive to success, like at all. Like for me, it was like, you know, go to the Navy, go to college, or be homeless, you know, and I graduated with like a 1.4 GPA. So there's no way I was going to college. I graduated high school with 1.4 GPA. So like that was out. And, you know, I grew up and saw a lot of crazy stuff in my childhood with my dad that we can probably get into a little bit. But, yeah, for me, the Navy was like a way out of like a really hard situation. And I was willing to risk it all and leave it all behind just to find some stability, because most of my life at that point was, you know, I was raised in a very chaotic environment. So the Navy really brought stability, you know, to chaos and clarity to a lot of uncertainty. So,
yeah, I love that, man. And you know, it's interesting because when I look at my journey and I reflect back, you know, 12-step recovery was that stability for me. I had I'm sure like you, a pretty chaotic childhood, and joining a 12-step program really gave me that structure and gave me that consistency that I needed. And it sounds like that's what the Navy did for you. And what, like, outside of really needing some structure and some stability, was there anything else that inspired you to want to join the Navy?
I mean, I had when I was in high school, I was in ROTC, So for 4 years, I wore a uniform every Wednesday and I did PT on Fridays, right? As if you're in the military. So I was the
Right.
guy walking around the high school wearing the trousers and the press shirt and everything. Thought I was military. It was a fun, cool experience. And then I found out that my great grandfather was served in Pearl Harbor on the USS Arizona that's at the bottom of the Pearl Harbor right now.
Oh, wow.
So when I was, faced with like a fork in the road, so to speak, I was like, man, well, there's some history there. I'm sure I can do a lot of good in the Navy. So that's the route that I went.
That's awesome, dude. So 10 years in the Navy. What was one of the most interesting experiences you had in the Navy?
Man, a lot of them. I got to tell you, probably there's two. There's the climb. There's the climb of transitioning from military to entrepreneur, which I'll talk about. But what brought me to that was a deployment that I went on back in like 2014, 2015. And we went to like Papua New Guinea, Fiji, and the Philippines. It was like a humanitarian mission. So
Wow.
we were there literally to build schools for kids, render medical aid, do a lot of good humanitarian work. And this is literally some of the best work even to this day, that I've ever done as a human being.
Wow.
And I just remember we're like island hopping out there for like months, right? Spending time with all the local nationals. I just remember we were in a very rural part of the Philippines and outside of Rojas City, if you're familiar. But we had just put up like 4 buildings, 4 structures, built like soccer field, basketball court, all these things for kids. And I was the corpsman, right? So the CB battalion is the one in charge of building all these structures. They're basically your construction battalion for the Navy. And I'm there if they put a nail through their thumb or whatever, first medical aid. But anyway, the last day we were there, I just remember we were walking up the hill, and like you had to go up this high hill. We had to hike a whole bunch of resources and supplies up there over the 2 weeks we were there. And the last day we were walking with like boxes of crayons and books and literature, kid stuff.
Right.
And we get to the top, you don't see what's up there. And we get to the top, and all of a sudden you see like a flood of hundreds of kids, man, hundreds of kids. And we didn't see any kids like that the whole time we were there because we were in construction.
Sure.
And they just run up to us, man, and they start hugging our legs, saying, thank you, USA, USA. And it was one of the most inspiring, uplifting moments I've ever had, where I've been able to give to humanity, and have that result and impact kids in a sense. And coming back from that deployment, that's when I was like, okay, I want to do something with kids. I love, this is going to be our next generation, right? Get back from deployment. My girlfriend was waiting for me. We ended up getting married. We have 2 beautiful daughters now today, 5.5 and 2.5 years old. And, I really wanted to figure out how can I transition out the military and not only provide and do some good work, not only with my time, because my time is limited. Like we all have just 24 hours in a day, and working basically, I was working more than 9 to 5. When you're in the military, you sacrifice your whole liberty and freedom to the government, right? So you get told what to do, where to go, when to eat, when to shit, basically all the things, right? So I wanted to transition, and that's when I found digital marketing, and so today I'm part of a couple organizations that like build schools for kids in Mexico, like Pencils of Promise or RIP Medical. I give a lot to their foundation. They help veterans eradicate medical debt as well. So I've worked with over 15,000 veterans now today and helped them transition to entrepreneurship. And I think we built 9 schools so far in Mexico. But that whole process was very difficult to get through because I thought I was going to be a lifer. You asked my wife, like when she first met me, I was gung ho military. I thought I was going to be an officer, in the military for 25, 30 years, do the whole thing, heck, become an admiral one day. And I was fast tracking, man. So I don't know how much you know about like the military rank system, but it takes someone an average of 12 years to make E6. E6 is like a high level supervisory position. I mean, you could be in charge of hundreds of people and be and responsible for their careers and well-being. I made that rank in 5 years, less than half the time. And that's just a testament to how much I understood about the military system and making rank and giving back and bringing other people along with you.
What was the contributing factor for you to cut that time in half?
Yeah, good question. So, when I was a kid, I was the kid that would get a new toy. Like my mom or dad, they would give me a new toy, and then I would immediately take it all apart and I would put it back together. Right? It's like an engineer. I could play the most difficult video game at the most difficult level, like Halo on Legendary, right? I don't know if you've ever played Halo, but there's like easy, medium, hard, and then like Legendary, where like if they even look at you, you die. Like it's just an instant kill almost. Sure. I could play all of these video games on the most difficult level, and that's because I learned how to exploit systems. Right? I learned how to gamify things. I learned if I do good things happen. Right? So like every system is designed to get a result. No matter what the system is, your business, the IRS, building a home, it's designed to get a result. Or a marriage or relationships is designed to get a certain result. You can't change the system. You can switch systems, but the system is. But what you can control is the input you put into the system. Right? So we're in full control of the input. So when people say, hey, I want to have this amazing life, this amazing business, or whatever it is they're striving to go do, well, what are the inputs you're putting into that system, right? So it's more of like, you really need to look through a mirror instead of looking through a window and take full accountability, for all these things. So I looked at the military the same way that I looked at video games. Or when I was building computers, I could put together computers really well. That system, if you are willing to help other people further their careers and take on programs and events and jobs that people aren't willing to do, come in early, stay late, things like that, press your uniform every day, ace your physical fitness exam. If you're able to do all these things and help other people win in their careers, you will advance faster than anyone else. And I learned that at a very early age, early on in my military career. I was very fortunate to have a mentor in 2009 when I got to Bethesda, Maryland at the President's Hospital that kind of started to feed this into me. He put me up for the boards. He put me up for all the opportunities. And he just said, help other people win in your career and you're going to do well. And I always remembered that, and when I started to transition to entrepreneurship and I found digital marketing, I started to read and learn from people that you probably look up to as well, like Tony Robbins and Zig Ziglar, right? I remember this quote from Zig Ziglar. He said, help other people get what they want in life, and you're willing to help other people get what they want in life, you'll have all you want in life. And that immediately when I read that, I'm like, dude, that is exactly how I've been able to not just survive, but thrive, coming from a chaotic childhood to doing so well in the military. So I went on and implement that same strategy, as an entrepreneur as well.
I love it, bro. It's so cool because as you're talking about these principles that you've adopted in your life, it resonates with me so much because when I went to Tony Robbins for the first time, August 2018, that was one of the principles that he taught me. And I remembered him saying, become an X factor, become so incredibly talented at one thing that you can't be denied. And I remembered prior to getting to Tony, August 2018, I went to this program called TLC. It's the Living Course. And that program was designed to help people deal with their inner child, their traumas. And I remembered every Sunday during celebration, I would bring people that I cared about and loved because I experienced something. I experienced this incredible transformation. And I wanted everybody that I love and everybody that I cared about and everybody that was in my life come and experience this. And then on Sundays, they would shout me out and celebrate me. They're like, oh my God, if it wasn't for Ryan bringing me here, my life would never be this incredible. So I experienced that and I loved it. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Similar to what you're saying about Zig Ziglar, right? Give people gifts and watch your life significantly get better. And so I kept doing this. I kept replicating this over and over again. And so when I went to Tony, Tony was like, you know, become an X factor. Like, what's going to differentiate you in business than other businesses, and that's how you're going to outshine. And so I remembered going through those experiences at TLC, and I was like, holy crap, if I could bring this gift to my company, if I could bring this to all the people that are in my company, give them this skill, give them this shift in perspective, allow them to heal, they're going to become better. They're going to perform better. They're going to become more valuable. In turn, my company becomes more valuable. And so I've had that experience, and it's so cool because when I went to Tony, August 2018, my company was doing top line 10 million. You know, this year we're looking to break 100 million, and it has everything to do with pouring into the leaders, pouring into the culture of our organization. And so I resonate with that, bro. So thank you so much for sharing that. It just really ignited me when you said it, because I get on fire for it. And you also mentioned in passing, I think you said you used to, I think you spent like up to like $25 million in marketing dollars, and you've taken that experience and now you've been able to integrate AI as a marketing strategy to significantly reduce the cost of marketing dollars. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, actually to this date, we've spent probably over 30 million, done over 100 million in our revenue in our companies. Yeah, I mean, AI obviously took us by storm, you know, just a few short years ago. You know, I've been in this game since, like I said, 2014. So 10, 11 years. And we didn't have this back then. I mean, dude, I would have to like manually send emails. I'd have to walk into businesses. I did everything, you know, that you think I did what was required to grind and make things happen. Right. And AI has just made so many things easier. The biggest thing that we've been able to do with AI today is, you know, because in the last 10 years, I've been on the lead generation side. So I've been the guy that, you know, can turn $1 into $3 or $4 on YouTube ads or Facebook ads, right? That's been who I am, and been able to craft and build high ticket sales systems to sell packages up to 50 grand, which I have over my career at a high level, you know, and through that journey, you know, spending a lot of money on ads, you know, building sales teams. At one point I had over 100 people in my organization, and I don't look at it like, you know, 100 people, bro. It's like, it's literally 100 families, right? So I got moms, dads working for me. You know, when they go home, they get their paycheck and they're trying to feed their family, you know? So when I was scaling, there was months where like, I didn't know if I was going to make payroll, and it was really stressful times. You know, we were spending upwards of $1 million a month in paid ads, right? And at peak, I was doing about 3 million a month in revenue. And that sounds great. You would think I would be balling, but my expenses were like, and I was doing well, but my expenses were like really high. And there was months where like, you know, I couldn't look at my P&L weekly or monthly. I had to look at it over the quarter, because I knew, because we were selling high ticket and the sales cycle would be long, sometimes 6 to up to 12 weeks sometimes, because we're selling, you know, 10, 25, 50K offers. I knew that in a quarter, month one, red, month two, even more red, but month three would have this massive spike, and like, boom, we're in the green for the whole quarter. So that's how I operated in my company for years, actually. And there were some quarters where like we had 2 months where it was green. Heck, we did have 3 months where it was green, but then we would have like a super bad quarter too. Right. But I just remember about 1.5 years ago, which brought me to, you know, to answer your question on how we're leveraging AI. It was about 1.5 years ago. I remember we had a quarter red, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the first time I've ever seen this. This is not good. So we're like, all right, let's just be patient. Let's keep spending, right? Let's keep calls on the calendar, XYZ. And then month 4, red. Month 5, red. I'm like, oh my God, month 6, red. So 2 quarters back to back, I've lost probably over, you know, $3.5 million. And I'm like, dude, this is like not okay. Like, what is going on? So, and at that time, dude, I have worked with probably every high level marketing agency, guru, sales person that you could think of, marketing attribution softwares, technologies, AI, CRMs, conversion rate optimization people that are supposed to be like the glue between marketing and sales. And, we were optimizing our ad campaign based off of what people put on an application. So if you're selling products and services online, right, before they book a call, you have them fill out an application, and you
Right.
do that not, yeah, you want to get to know them and what their goals are, blah, blah, blah. But you're really trying to figure out, can they afford you? Because you're selling a 10K, 25K, or whatever offer. So you might ask them, hey, what do you do for a living? What's your job? What's your income like? How much do you make a year, right? What's your salary at your job? We found out, and look, here's the thing. I knew in my gut, and our team knew that people lied on those forms.
Right.
We just couldn't prove it. For some reason, the people that said they were broke on paper and made less than $2,500 a month turned out to be 30% of our high ticket revenue. How is that possible? Someone making $2,000 a month and it's 30%, it's $1 million a month in revenue for our company. That didn't add up. So we knew people were lying. So anyway, forever, my marketing team said, hey, the quality is good. This percentage are sales qualified, making above $5,000 a month. They can afford the packages, right? But the sales team constantly complained, hey, something's wrong with the marketing. There's a lot of leads that we're getting that are broke, right? So even though we did big numbers and we were profitable, there was a lot of uncertainty for years in what our data actually looked like, right? We had some of the best KPI dashboards, all the things, but we could not find certainty. So I just remember about a year ago, I was completely fed up with this. I was like, I want to know the exact financial capability of every time somebody gives me their phone number, right? When they say, hey, I want Doug's VSL or webinar or PDF, whatever the heck webinar or offer we're running. So I met my partner, Eric, about a year ago. He's been underwriting for big banks for 15 years. He's got relationships with all the credit bureaus for the last 15 years. And I went to him, and he was, when we met, we were kind of, just chopping it up. And he's like, yeah, I'm working on this tech in the financial space. I'm like, dude, this tech needs to come to the high ticket online marketing space. And I'm the guy, because I've already done 9 figures and I know exactly how to use this. So we basically merged and partnered. And we finalized, after about 2.5 months, we finalized a beta version of what is now LeadFi today, which is my AI software company. And basically what LeadFi does is, right when somebody opts into your funnel or your website, all we need is their name, email, phone number. And right when we get that information through the API, we're able to send back to you their exact credit score, exactly how much money they can spend on their credit cards right now in their wallet, their annual income, and their debt to income ratio. And we also have proprietary AUS, which is automated underwriting system. So basically we get the credit report and all the data, and then we underwrite exactly how much that person's pre-approved for in additional business funding as well.
Wow.
So not only do you know how much money you can get from them right now, but how much you can help them raise to be able to afford what you're selling. Right. And just to give you an idea of what's going on here, we own basically the only identity verification technology in the market that is able to take name, email, phone, put it through a true identity patent process, and then extract vital information like address, date of birth, XYZ. And then because of our integration with the bureaus, we just soft pull in real time. And what's super sick about this is, have you ever got a pre-approved credit card in the mail from like Chase, Wells Fargo, or anything like that?
Yeah.
So me and my wife did, like, literally yesterday. So our credit is being pulled nonstop, right, for these pre-approvals. It's a pre-screening process. They don't need your consent to run your credit on a soft pull, and it doesn't show up on your credit report at all. We're doing the same thing. So when people opt in, they don't have to check a box that says, hey, I want to get my credit pulled. No, it's a simple language that we add to your privacy policy. You just follow the TCPA, which is the checkbox that says, hey, I agree to have my information processed and used. I can opt out at any point, and boom, that's it. And now you're getting this data in your CRM per contact record, and you can do all sorts of extraordinary things with the technology. So
that's incredible, dude. If you're a coach, or if you're thinking about getting into coaching space or doing high ticket sales, I mean, the information that he just gave is literally lights out. I just started venturing into the coaching space, and what he is saying is so true and so valuable. And why don't you really just unpack like how important it is if you're stepping into high coaching, or if you're stepping into ticket sales, like the value of the information that you just talked about. How important is it for somebody for projecting and forecasting revenues? Like, why don't you talk a little bit about how important that is as a business owner or somebody that wants to become a business owner?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, for anyone that gets into business, you're obviously looking to make money and generate and create freedom, right? You might be super passionate about what you do. You love helping people, but that at the end of the day, a business is there to make the owner rich. And if you're thinking otherwise, you're delusional. You need to go start a nonprofit and just live a simple life, just to be honest with you, and do amazing work. Please go do that thing. But if you're going to be in business, you got to be cutthroat. You got to look at your P&L every day. Even though I couldn't project if we were going to be profitable, until the quarter, I still look at the P&L every day because I want to see cash coming in. I want to see cash coming out. Even if I look at it for 3 minutes, I want to see I get the P&L every day for my companies right now. So you have to, there's two mindsets. It's the helping impact, and it's also the, hey, let's freaking make a lot of money so that we can continue to support the mission, right? I was talking to a friend about this the other day. He's really big in the Christian community, big in his church. He started a men's group. He's doing all these things. He's starting a podcast. He's putting men's groups of men together in rooms and everything. And I'm like, dude, this is amazing. Like, how are you funding this? He's like, oh, dude, I'm out of pocket for everything. I'm like, dude, we need to fix this because you can only do this for so long out of your pocket. And he makes good money, and I'm sure he could probably fund it for a while. I'm like, dude, but that's just not smart, right? These people should be paying a small fee to be here, tie it, make it a for-purpose business, feed homeless, give to the church, make it for purpose, have it a feel-good thing. So people like, okay, not 100% is going to your pocket. It's going to funding the education you're giving me, but also going to my community as well, right? So, and I'm sure people that are listening to this like, oh my gosh, like I need to consider this too. I'm like, yeah, 100%. So that's the first piece of advice. It's a business. You got to treat it as such. On the marketing side, and as far as like running traffic, selling high ticket online, dude, like I said, I've been doing this for over a decade. The market is way more sophisticated now. They've been hit with Facebook ads and YouTube ads of thousands of people promising them X, Y, Z and under delivering. So people are way more skeptical when they see your ad. And it's been going on ever since you and I were even born, dude. The TV commercials, the newspaper ads, this stuff's not new. It's just in a different medium. So now when you're asking about their money and their finances on your applications, people are way more reluctant to want to give that information up. And they're coming in with this very skeptical mindset. Instead of focusing on their pockets, focus on your value, right? Take those questions. You can take those questions out of your application and use LeadFi, right? If you want it, you don't need to ask those questions anymore because you're getting that financial data, right? So you have to change the map of the funnel because the market knows what your webinar is about. They know if they watch your video, you're going to ask them to book a call, and they know if they're coming to the call, they're going to be sold something, right? So you just got to put your frame of mind in their seat, right? And if you just shift your focus to the value you're able to provide and the solution that the problems that your solution solves, now you seem way more helpful and wanting to be more valuable to them rather than talking to them about their money. So I think that's a shift that you're going to see big in the market. I think a lot of people right now that if they're watching this, they probably experience no show rates. There's distrust in the market, right? It's like an epidemic of this happening right now. So you need to figure out how can you leverage AI and these different technologies to get ahead of the curve, right? And the technology LeadFi, what's really cool about it, and I love disruptive technology. Like I've been an investor and playing around like with blockchain and AI and all this stuff for like 6 years now, really since 2017. So quite a while. But what's really cool about all this technology is that it's really early stages, right? If you've ever read the book of Diffusion of Innovation, Diffusion, by the way, if you want to fall asleep at night, go crack that book open and read it for about 6 or 7 minutes because the language is so heavy. But basically, Diffusion of Innovation just talks about every new disruptive technology that's going to be massively adopted by humanity. In 1999, right, we saw there was newspaper articles when we were, watching Power Rangers probably, but newspaper clippings saying, hey, the internet's a fad. It's not a real deal. You never order groceries, buy cars, date people, and look at us now. I mean, we're streaming live on your podcast right now, and I'm in San Diego, and I think you're in Miami, right?
South Florida, yeah.
South Florida. So yeah, man. So AI is in this early stage. So the faster that you adopt it and use it before the mass population, the more market share capitalization you're going to have access to over the next at least 5 years than anyone else. Because by the time you're actively using it in your day-to-day, which we kind of already are if you use Netflix or order on Amazon or talk to Siri on your phone, Apple now has Apple Intelligence AI on it now, where you can basically task it and ask it anything inside your phone, and it's going to do things for you. But there's going to come a point where this is going to be no longer a luxury; it's a necessity, right? And right now, it still feels like a luxury, but I mean, I would argue that it's a necessity if you're trying to be ahead of the curve and beat other people and get ahead, right? So adopting these technologies now, I think, is really important, because it's going to reshape. It's already reshaping how we do commerce, how we engage with other people, how we do business, all the things. So,
yeah, and it's interesting. I just read a report by 2033. I believe 80% of marketing is going to be done through AI and not going to be done through Google anymore. Can you expand a little bit on that, or did you hear that, or that statistic?
You said 30. What was the quote again?
Yeah, so by 2033, they're saying 80% of Google searches are no longer going to be available. Everything's going to be done through AI.
Yeah. I mean, you're already seeing it. Go Google something. Do you get organic or map listings anymore that you see first? No.
First heading is AI, right?
You get AI. AI will tell you everything you need to know, and you don't even need to search organic. This is changing like the SEO game. So when I first started in digital marketing, before I got into lead generation, like through paid ads, I actually got into SEO for search engine optimization. So I was really good at getting you number 1 or number 2 on Google for your business and city. So if you owned a dental clinic in San Diego, I could get you ranked probably in 30 days. And then, fun story. I grew that SEO agency to like over 50 grand a month in about 4 months. When I first started, I hit the pavement. I was banging out deals, and Google released this algorithm update. It was called the Penguin update, and we call it the Penguin Killer because it basically red flagged black hat practices. And back then, I didn't know what I was doing was black hat. I was just listening to the guy on YouTube, right? I didn't think anything of it. So, I had like 20 something clients ranked on page 1, paying me anywhere between 500 to 2 grand a month. Dude, I went to bed one night and I woke up the next morning when that algorithm update came out. I didn't even know it was coming out. And I went to go check all my accounts, and everyone disappeared from page 1 of Google. Like, wow. Some of them were on page 2 or 3. All of them, the rest of them just fell off the map completely. So I basically lost my business overnight. And then I had 3 or 4 clients. I was like, all right, dude, we'll give you another chance. I was like, I'm going to run Facebook ads. I sucked at it, and it worked out for one client, and that client and on helping me build a case study to go, sell more Facebook and eventually YouTube ads to other people.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, see, I went through a massive change in the market, persevered, and got through that. So, Google's going to continue to release new updates. The landscape is going to continue to shift. And now we're seeing that again, like you're mentioning, with AI. So, you Google something, traditionally you had your map pack, the top 3 listings that are local to you. Then you had all your organic underneath that. And then at the very top, you had ads. And back then, 20% of the clicks would go to ads. 60% would go to the map pack, and the remaining 20% would be people clicking on the organic. Right. So you wanted to be local map pack and top organic, and ads helped out too as well. But now basically all that's gone, and now the whole shift is you optimizing for the AI, because the AI is just looking at all these things. When you start a business in Miami, Florida, and you're local, right? Google wants to know, hey, did you create a Google My Business profile? Did you add photos and videos and all these? And do you have reviews going to your local listing? Does your website have all of these SEO meta tags, right? So there's like so many things it's looking at, and are you being mentioned by other authority websites in the space as well, right? And so if you don't have all these things locked in, and if you don't understand how SEO works, your business is going to be crushed by this AI, right? So it's a whole new ball game of Google marketing now that we have AI. So it's going to completely take over.
Yo, you've absolutely crushed it, bro. I love the level of knowledge that you have when it comes to marketing and AI. I mean, this is absolutely insane information. I mean, I'm literally sitting here like just learning so much information from you. My business, I think we spend somewhere around $650,000 to $700,000 a month in paid advertisement through Google, and it's just so wild because in order for your business to scale or grow, there has to be marketing dollars to invest. And so I'm curious, what would you say to somebody like me that is in the healthcare space, and I would say 70% of my revenue depends on spending, the budget that I spend with Google to scale my business. What feedback would you give me, or what information would you tell me to do or to look into to monetize my spend, or even venture off into different advertising strategies to potentially drive business?
Yeah, that's a good question. What part of healthcare is it? Remind me.
So we're primarily in substance abuse and mental health disorder space.
Yeah, that's right. That's a big part of your story, bro. Congrats, by the way, for all the work you're doing for people, man. It's incredible. Yeah, man. People don't really care, who you are until what you can, do for them, right? So, what I would focus on for you is there needs to be an overwhelming amount of positivity and documented references online about you and your business, right? Because that's what people are looking at. If you're spending $500K, $1 million a month, whatever it is you're spending, even if it's just 10 grand a month, when people see your face on a Facebook post or on a YouTube ad, or even if your business pops up high on Google, they're not just going to take that for what it is and go about their day. If they're interested, they're going to do due diligence on you. They're going to go Google your name. They're going to go search down page 1, click on page 2, page 3, and they're going to find articles about you. And really, they're looking to validate their own biases, because remember, these people are skeptical. Is this really going to work for me? What are other people saying about this person, right? So a lot of times they'll come in with the mentality of like, hey, I'm gonna Google Ryan Zofay and type in the word scam behind his name. This happened to me at a really high level, right? They would type in the words like scam, reviews, legit. They would look up different review websites, right? So you need to be prepared for this onslaught in your business. And likely what happens is, if you don't put SEO power behind those keywords, you're probably losing out somewhere between 20% to even 40% of revenue of what you're doing right now, because people are doing due diligence on Google and they're looking for the one thing that people are saying negative about you. They don't care that you've helped 1,000 people, but that one person had a bad result, right? But that person's probably very critical and probably not going to be easy to work with anyway, and going to be stuck in their ways for a long time, and that's fine. But what you as a business owner need to do is understand that other people are doing this, and so it's your responsibility in your marketing effort to not just focus on paid and awareness. You want to get awareness, but you want to keep that attention, right? You just don't want to have the person see you one time. You want them to keep looking for you, right, Ryan? So when they go to Google, you have to dominate that search. You have to know what keywords people are searching with your name, with your business, and create content and collect case study information and reviews and make sure that you're making it known on how people can share their story about your business online as much as possible. That way you have this omni effect, right? And you also want to be doing marketing or advertising, not just on one platform, but also multiple. If somebody visits your website online, they should be seeing ads from you on Facebook, on Instagram, on Google, on TikTok, on Taboola, which are native ads, all these different places. When they open up their Gmail account and they're about to send a Gmail, there should be a little banner in the top right corner of their Gmail that says Ryan Zofay Institution or whatever your company is, and they could click. You need to have omnipresence, because every dollar that you spend on advertising could be a dollar lost, right? So you have to fully take advantage of this omnipresence model, dominate your search engine results, because if you don't, someone else will. There's competitors. I can almost guarantee you right now, if I did research on your business, there's likely competitors of yours that see your impact, that see what you're doing, but they're also maybe putting ads at the top of your search, but in their business name, right? Or potentially maybe even making fake articles about you that aren't true. It's just a part of business. Walmart does it to Target. Burger King does it to McDonald's, right? This is just the landscape of the business. So these are all things that I've had to, do and look at and overcome in my business. And I got to tell you, man, every 0.5% that you find and pick up, every 1% is the difference. So if you're spending $1 million a month, that means you're probably doing 2 to 5 million. So 1% of $1 million is what 10 grand could be worth, up to 100 grand a month in additional found revenue. Compounding over a year could be millions of dollars. So all of these things that I mentioned add up over time. So,
Douglas James dropping gems, baby. I'm telling you, not only if you want to learn how to leverage AI, you want to learn how to build credibility in your business, scale your business, have the omnipresence. This is who you want to talk to. I mean, he absolutely crushes in the space. I remember Neo, when we were at the party, Neo's like, yo, you gotta know Doug. He's an incredible guy. And I love the philanthropy that you're up to, man. I think it's so cool. And, I started a not-for-profit called We Level Up Academy. And you mentioned something that I think is so powerful that people overlook. When they think of charity or business, they think of a charity is out there making a difference, impacting people's lives. But what they fail to understand is that without the business, there's no way to fund the charity. And so I love that you said that. And it's interesting because I am now using and leveraging the coaching space, the seminars, the mentorship that I'm up to as a feeder to pay for the not-for-profit, so we can go into these schools and teach these kids emotional integrity, how to communicate at a high level, understanding what's going on emotionally. And so I love what you're up to, bro. I'm grateful that I get the opportunity to share this time in this space with you. And man, talk about an interest. I had no idea what I was getting into with you, bro, but I have a wealth of knowledge. Like, my brain is going, bro. I'm like, all right, I got to set up a call with Doug. I got to figure this stuff out, man. I got to scale my omnipresence. I got to do all these different things. It's funny. I'm literally like I'm about to end the show with you. And I'm like, I'm going to text my marketing department and be like, hey, you guys need to watch this episode, and everything that Douglas says, we need to be implementing it. I want a workflow, and I want execution. I want dates and times when all this stuff's in place. And we may be doing a lot of it, but I don't know. So thank you so much, man. For those that are listening, what do you think is the most valuable lesson that you've learned in life? You're clearly a 9-figure entrepreneur. You're an incredible friend. You're an incredible business owner. You're an incredible dad. So you check off so many of the boxes, and then you have this like servant mentality. I mean, the fact that you gave your life to the Navy for 10 years, I mean, just speaks volumes of who you are. What do you think is the most valuable lesson for the listeners to learn from you?
Yeah, man, there's so many lessons and so many things that I went through. And I wish I could share them all, but I think I want to say a couple things because I think it's really useful. When I was in the military, transitioning to entrepreneurship was really, really tough. Not because I wasn't committed to it. It's because of the scrutiny that I faced from other people, specifically my chain of command. So I have a mentor. His name is Randy Massengale. He's the senior advisor to Bill Gates. And one of the things he told me, he says there's two tyrants to leadership. Okay. So basically what that means is whenever you elevate yourself or create space between you and other people, they get really uncomfortable with that space, right? They knew you here, right? You were our boy, Ryan, used to come out to the bars, used to come do this, used to come do that, right? We would do barbecue with the girls on Saturday or whatever the case is. Now you're off here trying to build this business, do all this impact stuff. Like, dude, just stop that. That's stupid. They scrutinize you. They tell you you're never going to make it, right? But once you do make it, you start making money, you have influence, you have impact. They're like, dude, can you teach me how to do that too? Hey, can I come join? Hey, your mom needs a loan for a car. Your mom needs a new car. So they start to expect things from you and ask things from you. The only reason why I got into coaching and I'm even teaching this stuff now, not because I was trying to make money. I was minding my own business, running my agency, trying to figure out what I was going to do beyond the military. I had a Master Chief come up to me, E9, highest rank you can go in active duty. He comes up to me and says, hey, HM1, that's my rank, HM1. I'm getting out the Navy next month. I'm 45 years old. I've been in the Navy for 25 years. I don't want to go sit in a classroom full of 19-year-olds. Will you teach me what you do? And by the way, I'm willing to pay you like $900. Does that work for you? I'm like, sure. I went home, recorded a bunch of videos, gave it to him on a Monday, uploaded it to Dropbox. It was the worst course you've ever seen in your life. And would you know it, by next weekend, he landed a client paying him $1,000 a month.
Wow.
That's how I got into coaching, right? And then I realized, wow, there's such a significant impact in helping other people. If there's information and knowledge that you have in your possession that can help and save someone else's life and better their life, you are in a moral obligational duty to share that. I had an event at my penthouse here in San Diego. I had 100 veterans in the room, 500 watching online, 2-day event. Robert Kiyosaki is keynoting it. After the first day, a veteran comes up to me wearing his World War II hat, or I forgot which war he was in, or maybe it was it was one war that he was in. You could tell he was obviously a veteran in the military. But what I do remember is this: he hands me a letter, right? And in the letter, I read it after day one. It's 8 pages long. It's about his whole life and all of his struggles and how he was planning his suicide 2 weeks before he saw me on Instagram promoting my event. And so he decided to come to the event. And now in the letter, he says, I no longer wish to kill myself. I want to live and build my relationship with my daughter and grandkids that I have no relationship with. And he said, thank you. In a lot of words, that's what he told me. So I've seen the impact of helping other people. And once you have one experience like this, you can't go back. Jack is out the box. We can't put Jack back in the box, right? Wow. So for me, sharing my message and trying to help other people rise to the next level is what I do feel I'm called to do, especially in my faith on the Christian side as well. So I'll end this part with this. I know that we're all human beings. We're all hardwired for survival. That's a part of our DNA. That's how we are. We can actually survive with just the brain and the spinal column. Would life suck? Yeah, no arms, no legs. I have friends that have gotten blown up in Iraq and Afghanistan. They come back jacked up. I've lost friends at war too. But your human being only cares about eating, sleeping, and breathing. That's it. So all of these goals, dreams, aspirations, you want that car, you want that life for your family, you want to travel, you want that boat, all the stuff. Your human mind could care less about that. You need to be optimized for gold. I'm not interested in silver or bronze. I want to be number one, right? Wow. And that's how I show up and I present myself in confidence in anything I do and everywhere I go. And the reason why I'm able to do that is because every single day I remind myself of a quote. And the quote is from this author. Her name is Virginia Satir. She says, most people choose the certainty of misery over the misery of uncertainty, right? Wow. So that basically means if there's 2 doors, behind door number 1 is life as you know it. You know what you're going to get. You're certain of that miserable life. Same house, same job, same car, same circumstances. Door number two, you're miserable in the uncertainty of what's behind that door. All your goals, dreams, aspirations, everything that you could ever want in life is behind that door. But I got to tell you, man, and most people choose door number one to door number two. And I got to tell you, every billionaire person that I've ever hung out with on a, at a close level, I always ask them that question. Door number one, door number two. What does this quote mean to you? And they say door number two all day. For example, I was hanging out with Damon John, asked him the question. He's like, door number two, because door number one was me driving a cab in New York, worried if I was going to get stabbed in the neck. Door number two was starting FUBU, which is a $6 billion brand today. Right. So I wake up and I ask myself that question because every single day, my human mind tells me exactly why I can't win, why I can't succeed. And I have to remind myself, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a leader, I'm a business owner. There's a lot of people that look up to me. And at the end of the day, we all have an hourglass that's upside down with only so much sand. Our time's going to come. And when we get to the gates of heaven, what's going to be left of us? What is going to be our legacy? Are we going to be allowed to go in? So for me, all I want to do is optimize for gold, choose door number two, and leave a legacy so that when my kids are gone, when I'm gone and my kids are still here, they have nothing but amazing things to say about me. And if they can say great things about me, that means I said a lot of good. And that means I'm with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ in heaven.
Wow. Well, that was powerful, bro. I really felt that, man. I definitely appreciate you, bro. Like I didn't really know what to expect. And I can honestly say, like, in my heart, like you're a really good human being, dude. And I'm grateful that I get the chance to know you. And that was very inspiring. I'm resonating with my life and really what has catapulted me to my success is this servant leader mindset that you're referring to. And I just think it's so powerful. And it's the same thing for me, bro. Like I started doing personal development, teaching personal development January 2021. I had a very thriving, successful business. And when I think about why I made the decision to teach people how to heal is because it like changed my life. I lost both my parents to addiction. And when I think about like waking up every day, leaving a legacy, as you elegantly said it, like I want to make a difference in somebody's life because I know how stuck and how trapped I was and how I wasn't able to see past the windshield. And the little bit of information that people gave me to heal the trauma that I've healed has allowed me to have this peace and this freedom. And so I really appreciate you as a human. I really appreciate what you're up to in the world. I'm grateful that I get a chance to establish a relationship with you, bro. And thank you so much for pouring your heart out, dude, because you can feel your sensitivity and your authenticity. And I really appreciate that. How can people find you?
Yeah, man, I really appreciate the words. Thank you. Yeah, Instagram, just type in Douglas James. I should be the first one with the blue check, but I think the sign is like @_Douglas James. And then my main website is for my software is LeadFi, the LEADFI.ai, LeadFi.ai. You can check it out.
Awesome, brother. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate your time. If this is your first time watching this episode, please subscribe below. Check out my dude, Douglas James. Incredible man, incredible father. Douglas, thank you again, brother. I appreciate you.
Likewise, Ryan. Thanks.
God bless, brother.